Hi everyone, welcome back to another continuing education check-in. Today we're talking about how to enjoy your single era. And maybe we'll change the name, I don't know. But it's going to be a really fun episode and very relevant to where Sania and I are at right now in life.
Sania and I?
We'll get into it. And we're going to bring back our segment Dapper Slap for the end. So look forward to that. And we have a bunch of new scenarios for you guys.
All right, so Ethan.
Yeah.
Seems like we're both enjoying our single eras. I already sort of talked about what brought mine on.
Yeah.
I think I'm just kind of tired, and I don't have the energy nor the desire to talk to anybody new.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my reasoning. Why are you in your single era right now? Why is it hot boy summer?
So I hinted about this, but I think right now I'm in a period of my life where there's a lot going on. Mm-hmm. And I'm even struggling to see can this podcast even fit in with my life? Mm-hmm. And I really want it to. And right now it's like a passion project. Mm-hmm. And I really believe that this could be so much bigger. Mm-hmm. Anyways, this is not about the podcast. I think I'm very content where I am in life right now.
Okay.
Being single, having time for myself, mm-hmm. or having time to do things that I'm interested in and just try them out, mm-hmm. and hanging out with my friends. That is good for me in this moment of time. Mm-hmm. And do I want to be in a committed relationship? I do. I think I'm just not sure if right now is the right time, or if I've met someone that I'm really excited to start that process with. Okay. Because similar to you, I think we both realized that starting a relationship, it's great, but it's a lot of work. Yeah. And
big time commitment.
Yeah, and there's a lot of steps to take. Even if you take things slow, there's just so many things that you need to talk about that.
And then there's the scary potential of you'll actually end up with them, and that's your life's gonna go in a whole nother direction. And I'm sure we both, from the way we talk, want that direction, but it could happen so quick. Yeah. Also, so I'm kind of
So I think I'm kind of waiting for the right person. Yeah. I'm not sure if this is the right time for me, just because I'm worried that it would overwhelm me. Mm-hmm.
True.
And I think that's why I'm still single. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm hoping it's not because I'm too picky or because I don't actually
I don't think it sounds like you're too picky. You're giving people chances, that you're meeting and stuff like that. So that already shows maturity and that you aren't being too picky.
Do you think I'm pushing people away?
I think a little bit, but then I also think you're pushing away somebody maybe that you're not interested in, but you're more welcoming of someone that you could have potential interest in. Mm. So I don't think you're just just pushing everybody away, Yeah. So, I think that's natural. That is what liking people and not liking people is. Mm-hmm. So I think that's fine.
I'm also thinking about what happened with Houston.
Yeah. And that topic I would really like to touch on when we talk about this book. Okay. And I'll give it back to you so you can freshen up your memory on it. But yeah, I think we sadly might have the same attachment style, in my expert opinion.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. The next thing I want to ask is, how happy are you in your single era? I know you said you like to keep yourself really busy. You're trying out new activities and hanging out with friends, and you're moving, and Ethan's apartment looks super, super nice. I saw it on video call.
You didn't see
he's
the
in
whole
his
thing.
Homemaking era. Mm-hmm. So you're keeping yourself busy. Are you happy? Do you want, do you feel because I feel a lot of times when people are single, they can either be fulfilled. Yeah. And I myself have been in this position 2 years ago when I was on the dating apps, where I felt kind of not an emptiness, that sounds very sad, but like something was missing. Like I wanted something. Are you feeling that desire for wanting a relationship or wanting a person who you're with all the time, talking to all the time? Or are you just content?
That is a loaded question. And I kind of want to break down my life a little bit.
Okay.
So I think recently I've been in a phase of my life where I'm like, if something's interesting to me, I'm just going to try it. Because I am so young, I still have time. And this is the time of my life to just try things. So I want to start a podcast. I'm just going to try it. I feel like people need good advice when it comes to dating and relationships. I'm going to try to do it. I don't know if I'm going to do the best job. I don't know like what's going to happen, if things will go wrong, but I'm going to try.
Okay.
And
I like that.
And that's the same like when it comes to other like parts of my life. Like I want to do this volunteering thing at church, or I want to join a volleyball league, or just pick up a new sport. This is like the time for me just to try everything. The problem is that at my core, I am a person who seeks out the company of others.
Yeah.
I have a very hard time doing things alone.
Me too. I'm the exact same way.
And I think this points to the fact that maybe I'm not approaching singleness in the best way.
Fair.
And so I think that someone who really wins in their single era is someone who gets good at being by themselves and really enjoys it. And I think I'm trying to work on that.
Me too.
So instead of trying to do a lot of things anymore, I want to more focus on staying at home by myself and really enjoying that time.
Okay.
So I tried that for the first time this weekend, and at home I kind of like wasted my time by watching like YouTube movies, but I also started reading again, and I just let myself kind of like lie in bed, think about things, and play music, and it was really awesome. I actually enjoyed it way more than I thought. But I had to fight my natural instinct of just like hitting up my friends and
I think
saying,
because
hey.
we're extroverts, right? So like we get energy by being around other people, or like we get like, you know, obviously you need time to recharge and stuff like that, but we like enjoy things more, and it like, you know, we are more outgoing, we're more bubbly and if we have people around us that we need to do that for. So it's hard to be that bubbly, energetic person for yourself. And I do agree, you know, those people that are very like self-reliant and like, you know, like if they want to go buy flowers, they'll just get up and go buy themselves flowers. Like, or if they want to like, dude, I can't even go do groceries by myself.
Yeah.
Like groceries is like a fun activity. It's like, oh, let's go grab groceries. Let's just walk around, talk. So I completely agree with you. But so I'm glad that you had your weekend alone. And I do think you can try stuff that you like also alone. Like, I don't know how it was growing up for you, but when I was little, I think I spent like, you know, before I was like of legal age to go out, I think I spent like the majority of my time growing up like at home. You know, my parents would be in the other room, you know, cooking, watching TV, whatever. And I'm in my room and I'm just like painting, or I'm doing little cool crafty things, or like whatever I like to spend my time doing. And like I felt really fulfilled by that. But somehow as I got older and I had friends and like I was allowed to go to the mall and hang out with them, I just like had less and less time to be at home. And then the more I was outside, I felt less content being by myself at home. So I agree. It's like that. I'm like trying to relearn that feeling of like, oh, like I'm happy. Like this weekend I painted because I keep complaining how I never have time to paint. Because people are always getting in my way. And it's like, okay, well now I have time.
And I've been thinking a lot about the idea of rest. And usually my idea of rest is getting sleep.
Yeah, me too.
But
which is really bad.
Like the thing is, I enjoy being with people, and actually like knowing that I have to meet up with someone to do something is what really gets me out of bed.
What gets me motivated.
Exactly.
Wow, you like spoke something from like the deep core of my heart.
Right. But then the thing is, like when my weekends are like that, I realize that by the end of the weekend, I don't feel well rested. I don't feel ready for the week.
I completely agree.
I feel like I have to kind of recover from
being
weekend.
with everyone all the time.
Yeah, and so it was nice in the moment, but it's not sustainable.
Yeah, true.
So I realized there has to be some more balance, and rest has to look a little different for me. Instead of sleeping it off, I need to do things that are just more calming and low energy. Because being with people, I'm always engaged.
Yeah, and you're always, because again, we're those extroverted people, we're people pleasers. Yeah. We're I don't want to say we're performing, but we're entertaining the crowd. We are, I don't want to also say star of the show, but we're just putting a lot of our energy into that whole group. Yeah. And it takes that energy out of you, because I had a very similar, I think since Thursday, I've just been constantly tired. And I also wasted away my day when I wasn't with people on Sunday, and I was just sleeping a lot, resting, and I was just but it didn't feel fulfilling because I just wasted it sleeping, you know? I feel it would have felt, I think maybe for both of us and for everybody out there, you should prioritize your alone time. It shouldn't just be oh, so-and-so asked me to come watch them at their volleyball tournament, and I'm gonna go do that because they asked. No, you should also get out of bed because you yourself want to wake up and try out a cool new recipe. That should have an equal importance and an equal motivation for you to get out of bed and do that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think what we're identifying is instead of being with people, because it's important to be comfortable with yourself, be by yourself, and then think about what are things that bring you peace. Yeah. So for me, it was reading, it was playing basketball by myself, and then it was listening to music. And that was enough. And so for everyone, it's gonna look different, but I would really recommend to try it out. And I think for me, it really slowed things down for me, which is really helpful.
Yeah. I think we're touching on a really important, topic here about how important your single era is. Or just even if you're in a relationship, how important your alone time, your own interests, how important that is. Yeah. Overall. Because I realize myself when you're not living with your family versus when you are living with your family, I don't know, at least for me, I noticed a huge shift in my personality. So when I'm not with my family, when I'm living here in the Bay Area and I'm by myself, I'm around a lot of people more. The only way to end my alone time is to be around my friends. And I feel I feel myself getting pulled into a lot of directions, into what does everybody else around me need or want, or what do they expect from me? And I guess Ethan said, I feel very tired, and it isn't until, and I feel okay, yes, tired, but I also feel a lot of brain fog and confusion, and I have because I just don't have that time to check in with myself. So I really have no idea what I want, and I'm just really living life on everybody else's terms. They're oh, we're gonna do this, and I'm yeah, we're gonna do this. But it isn't until I'm back home, and being back home could be whatever else for everybody, but when I'm back home and I have that time by myself, where I'm back to when I was young and my family's downstairs, and then I spend time with my own self, and I'm wait, this is actually what I want. These are the actions that align with who I want to be and what I see myself doing. And I come always, every time I come back from Canada, I come with clarity, and I'm all right, time to do this, and the other thing. So I think that is such an important feeling, because until you check in with yourself and you know what you want, there's no way you're going to ever feel content in your relationship. Maybe your relationship is what you want, but you also need your alone time to figure that out and to know that you value that.
Yeah. I think you bring up a key point, and one of the takeaways from today is by being in your single era and learning to win and enjoy your time by yourself, the end goal is that kind of clarity and knowing what you're looking for. Yeah. And when you feel you know what you're looking for, and you know what your identity is, and you're able to be by yourself, and that's awesome. Probably at that point, that's when you're ready to be in a relationship again. And instead of feeling that other person is going to intrude on your lifestyle, I think when you've reached that point of clarity, you're gonna be like, no, this person will help me to like do this even better. And I'm gonna have someone to like share this with, and like share my mature self with, and then together we can like build something that is gonna be great for everyone around us.
I'm really happy, Ethan, because I feel like we're like the same person, which I'm sorry for the viewers that we're not bringing a lot of diverse opinions, but I feel like we're both very much on the brink of this.
I'm not as delusional as
yeah, but we're both on the brink of this thing, you know, of like enjoying and like basking in our single era.
Yeah.
And like, I'm really happy because I feel like neither of us were, at least, I'll speak for myself, but also from what you're saying, sounds like we were never able to really enjoy it and like own it. And I'm really happy that these are the conversations we're having. We're kind of headed in the right direction. I know I'm going to be vulnerable for a second that I think not even maybe a month ago, remember, Ethan, when I called you and I was like freaking out a little bit and I didn't know if I wanted to sign my lease or if I wanted to be here, and I was just kind of like really in my own head. And I also called my mom before I called Ethan. And I was telling my mom some really unhinged stuff. I was like, oh, like, blah, 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 Mom. Like, you know, like, I really wanted to be married and I wanted to do all these things and be in a relationship and, you know, work towards marriage because I just don't want to be alone. I don't like being alone. I don't like to do groceries alone. I don't like to go to the gym alone. I don't like to X, Y, Z. And my mom just, like, paused me right there. And, like, just for a little context, brown moms, like, you know, culturally, at my age, she wants me to be married. Like, just because, like, they freak out, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, it's just, like, the next step. And so for her to tell me, like, Sania, if that is the reason you want to be married, to end your aloneness, you should not get married. You need to learn to be a self-sufficient person. You need to be happy with your own company. And until you can do that, you are not ready. If you're looking for marriage to end your aloneness, you know, to have somebody to do everything with, to have someone to talk to all the time, you will not be happy even in that marriage until you are happy with yourself. So that's what kind of pushed me, that, and then talking to Ethan kind of pushed me to be like, you know what, I'm going to sign this lease and I'm going to do this whole aloneness thing. But in a positive way, not like, oh, aloneness, like, it's like, oh, aloneness, like, so.
Yeah. I think there's like two keys in what you just said. The first one is that the reason why it's important to learn to enjoy time by yourself and not seek a relationship to fulfill that in you is because even if you're dating someone, even if you're married, you're still going to be alone sometimes.
Totally.
And you're going to feel alone sometimes. And this is kind of the sad truth of marriage, but people change, and there comes a point where you feel like you don't even know your partner anymore. And that's like kind of a normal part of life. And that's why, in my opinion, like the marriage commitment is so important, because you know that they're not just going to leave because you're different, and you have that commitment to like keep you together through that. And then when you get through it, then like you've grown together. And so there are still these periods where you feel like you're not fully understood, or I think maybe that's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
And so what do you do in those moments? If you didn't have this period of your life where you got good at being by yourself and not feeling like you had to have other people to understand you.
Yeah. That's
and
huge.
Being okay with having like different groups of people who understand different parts of you, and like being okay with that, then you're not going to be ready for when you go through like those turbulent times in your relationship down the line.
I just want to say, I think, you know, we always have good episode topics, at least in my opinion, but I feel like this one particularly, a lot of what was said really resonated with me, Ethan, and I hope that there's value in this for the viewers, because they're probably like, wait, isn't this a relationship podcast?
Yeah.
Why are these guys talking about being single? But I think that that's what we're saying, is that's equally as important to having a healthy relationship.
Yeah. One big question that I have left is, let's say you are naturally introverted and you're really good being by yourself and just doing things that bring you peace, and
lucky.
you're just at home and you are baking or you're
Tending
just playing video
plants.
games. I feel like you could be doing those things and not be gaining that clarity that we're talking about.
Yeah.
And maybe you're not happy being by yourself, but that's just like what you end up doing every weekend.
Right.
So for those people out there, how exactly do you get this kind of clarity and really learn about yourself, learn what you want, and feel comfortable and even enjoy that process?
I think the key thing that we've kind of like the key common theme and everything that we've been saying for when you're alone, what should you do in your time?
Yeah.
Whether it's like, I don't know, we listed out a bunch of examples. I think all of the things that we listed are like good for you. They're good for you mentally. They're good for you physically. And so I think those people that are naturally introverted and end up spending the whole weekend at home, which there's nothing wrong with that. You did it and you're very positive and hopefully you're feeling well rested after that. I think for the people that spend their whole weekend at home but they don't feel well rested and they don't feel that sense of like peace or like rest and like calmness, I think it's because, you know, maybe they're wasting away their whole weekend scrolling on TikTok. And so you really need to, it's not just about being by yourself. Like I said, I had a very unrestful Sunday because I was by myself, but I just wasted the whole day sleeping. I finished Love is Blind. Like, you know, that was not good because those are things that are draining my energy away. I'm watching TV and I'm getting nothing out of it, you know? So you really have to, in that alone time, you really need to figure out, like, the stuff that you like to do that's good for you.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm so sorry. Maybe some people are not very active, but even if it's just going for a walk in the middle of the night, you know, you just have to do something. So, you know, something physical, something creative, like, you know, trying out new things that you're maybe curious about. Like, I would feel way more comfortable to try out a random new recipe when I'm just cooking for myself rather than for everyone else because, you know, so you have a lot of privileges in this alone time, so don't just, like, waste it away on YouTube all day.
Yeah. I think, like, something that, like you mentioned, that I want to talk a little more is I think it's important to, like, feel that you're learning and you're growing. And so even for me, like, when I was reading a book about marriage, and so I think that really helped me to challenge my own views about marriage and just learn more. And then also, what else did I learn? I feel like I learned something. I learned, like, how to, like, use credit card points for, like, travel and stuff.
Okay.
And so, like, I was, like, figuring out if I could, like, plan a trip for next year. And so those are just, like, examples, but I think if you implement learning in some way into those things and you kind of push yourself a little bit out of your comfort zone, I think that's what's really going to help you when you're alone to make the most out of it. Yeah.
I agree.
Okay. I think this is not easy. Like we're talking about this and, like, it sounds nice. Do we think everyone should experience this?
I feel like that's, like, very hard to say that everyone should because, you know, it's not very one size fits all.
Yeah.
Everyone's lives go in, like, very different directions. Like, you know, had I gotten married, like, 8 years ago, like, while I was still living with my parents and then immediately next thing is, like, being married, I feel like I could have had a successful life even then. But I feel like, I guess, because then you can still learn your alone time even when you are married or when you are in a relationship. But I guess what we're saying is if you're lucky enough to have this alone time, you should really, it's really hard to do, but you should really try to seize it. Like, I have a cousin, she was, like, in school and then she was working and she was, like, 23 when she got married. And, like, she told me 2 years ago when I was complaining about feeling lonely, living alone, she's like, Sania, you're so lucky that you can do whatever suits you best. You are literally living the most selfishly that you can, but in a positive way. You're living selfishly, but nobody can look at you and be like, oh my gosh, like, look at her. She just went on that trip just because, like, for herself. if you try to take a trip when you have a family, kids, everyone's going to be like, wow, like, which you should still do. But it's like positive to be selfish right now. So if you're lucky enough to have that time, we're just saying to embrace it, I think.
Got it. And maybe this is the kicker. Like, I guess I'm thinking not everyone has the privilege to have their single era.
Yeah.
But maybe the trick is that everyone can have a single era, even if you're in a relationship. So even if you're dating someone or you're married, you can take some time to just be by yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm a strong supporter of this. Even like when you're dating someone, you shouldn't be spending all your time with that person.
I agree completely.
Like, you guys had your separate lives before, and you guys should still be somewhat invested in that even after you're in a relationship. And like, I'm sure all of you have seen this in some shape or form, but when our friends have gotten into relationships in the past, or even when we have, a lot of times you just start seeing that friend way less. And it's because they're spending all their time with their significant other.
Yeah.
And that not only causes problems and strains like your old friendships, but even for yourself, your identity is now tied to your significant other. And in the end, that is the goal. But you yourself are like, you need to understand what you like yourself. Like, what is your personality like? What are your triggers? What are your goals in life? And so we're not saying like you should just, we're saying it's important to still have time for yourself and figure these things out. You don't have to be single, not talking to anyone to do that. If you are, you have more time to do that, which is good, and that's what Sania and I are figuring out for ourselves right now. But I think anyone can do this.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
All right.
And I think everyone should do this.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're gonna go from that into Dapper Slap. And we have some good scenarios for you guys today. And so as a reminder, we're going to read out these different scenarios. It's going to be like our friend told us that they did this. Yeah. And we're going to choose if we're going to dap them up and support them, or are we going to slap them and say them. Exactly, like, and say they're being a little delusional. Okay. You want to?
All right. Our first scenario is our friend's telling us that they're talking to multiple people at once. Now, I'm going to just start us off by saying my answer is very hypocritical, because if I was talking to somebody that was talking to multiple people, canceled. But if my good girlfriend or me myself am talking to multiple people at once, I feel like that's a very safe strategy, so that you don't have all your eggs in one basket, you don't get hurt that much. You know, I feel like it's a very good way to proceed with dating.
But
like I said, I knew I was going to be a hypocrite, okay?
And thank you for pointing that out and being very honest. For me, it's a light slap. And I'm also a hypocrite.
I think I'm going to dap it. Sorry, I don't know if mine was clear.
Wow.
It's safe. I'm all for keeping yourself safe.
But it's safe because you're trying to protect yourself. And you're trying to not feel insecure.
Wait, let me update my answer. It's a slap, or no, it's a dab.
Okay.
As long as you're letting everybody that you're talking to know that you're talking to everyone. I think at that point, I'm not hypocritical anymore. I think the reason I said I don't like it when other people do it is because usually when I've been in a situation where the guy that I'm talking to is talking to multiple other people, I've had to discover it, which feels like my trust is being taken away and I'm being not valued or blah, blah, whatever. It leads to a whole slew of other problems. But I think if right off the bat they were like, oh yeah, by the way, like I am going on a date with someone else tomorrow, or, you know, because we're not exclusive, we're not boyfriend, girlfriend, as long as you let me know, that is okay. And me too, that goes for me also, which it's hard to do. Like it's hard for me to also be like, hey, like I am talking to other people, because nobody likes to hear that. But I think if you're transparent about it, that's a dap. You can do it. and I support it. It's healthy. You're single, you're allowed to date around, but just don't break people's trust.
What if when you're like talking to multiple people, you feel like your attention is divided and you can't really give anyone like your full attention, your full heart, and you can't even remember like
little like details?
Exactly. Because
I think if you're talking to, let's say, like 4 people at the same time, I think the one that you like is gonna, like, the cream rises to the top, Ethan. Like, whoever you're most interested in, you're going to remember those details. You're going to put more effort. The point of dating is not, I feel like we're in a society where it's like, oh, equality, this, and like, the point of dating is not to make everybody feel equally good about themselves. It is not like talking to multiple people. The goal is not to have 5 semi-average, equally good relationships. Mm-hmm. The point of it is, okay, you're talking to these 4 or 5 people. 3 of them are kind of like bottom string. You're not really feeling it. And then between the top 2, you're kind of like, you're going back and forth and you're trying to decide. And sometimes one is better and sometimes the other.
Yeah.
So that's okay if you don't remember details. Like, maybe they are not that important to you, and that's okay.
So I think you point out some important things. I think talking to multiple people at once is only a dab. It's probably only a light dab if you are not sure what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And so you're trying to figure that out, but it's your goal to like know. And then also you know that you're not going to be doing this for a long time. You're not going to string people along. Like
if you're into like polygamy, if you're into like perpetually talking to multiple people, we're not judging that. We're saying that's also okay, as long as you let the people know that you're trying to be in a polyamorous relationship.
Yeah, I'm not even trying to go there. I'm just trying to say that, like, I think it's only okay talking to multiple people at once if you're not trying to like just continue that for a long time.
But some people do want that, and like we're not trying to shame those kinds of relationships.
No. I'm not saying about. This is not even like even anywhere close to polygamy.
Okay.
I'm saying you like someone who's looking for a monogamous relationship, a long-term relationship.
All right.
But they like go on 10 dates. Like with all of these people, and that gets us into our next situation, right? I'm saying you should not be going that far, that long with someone.
If you're dating,
people.
If you're dating with the intent of monogamous, like trying to find your one person to be with,
it's fine to like talk to multiple people at once, but right when you know that like someone has risen to the top, to like cut it with everyone else and not lead them on.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
True. Okay.
And so I'm just saying, don't string other people along, and don't let things drag on for too long.
And I will take responsibility. I have done that before.
It's really easy to do that, which is why there's some kind of danger in that.
Okay,
and that's
I get
why
it.
I'm still at light slap.
Okay. You're at a light slap. I'll give it a light dab.
Okay.
Okay.
So the next situation that we hinted about is going on more than 5 dates with someone that you're not sure about.
I'm just going to start off by saying that's a slap because you're leading them on, but also like check in with yourself, dude. Like if you're not interested in the person, how can you even find the energy and the desire to want to do that? Like the serial texter guy, remember the nonstop text?
Yeah.
I think I went on 2, maybe 3, but 2 dates with him, and I was so tired of his company just because I already knew in my stomach he was just not the one for me.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't do it anymore. Like he would plan, out of everybody, he has planned the cutest dates. Like there's still, I'm going to take people to where what he's done for me on dates because they were really cute dates, very thoughtful, the most fun dates, very unique ideas. But like just the idea of wanting to hang out with him again, like again, he was a very good guy, but just can't do it.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, right? Like, he was not tired of you. So, what is my point? I guess you didn't string him along, but he wanted, I don't know, that's not actually related.
Yeah, like, are you slapping someone who's going on many dates with someone that they're not interested in?
Yeah. It's like a huge slap for me. It's a power slap. But I think people will do that because they want the attention, they want validation.
But those people really should check in with themselves.
They want someone to cuddle with at night.
That's like such like a "where's my hug" kind of statement. That they want someone to cuddle with. Yeah. And I get it, but like really, like you're wasting their time, you're wasting your own time. And I don't want to sound like I'm like above this. I have done it myself also. Like if you're not sure, but you think you could be sure, if you've seen a few things that you're like, oh, maybe, cool. It's like, honestly, you just have to be honest with your reflection in the mirror at the end of the day. And if you believe you're doing it for the right reasons, it does not matter what anybody else has to say about it. Like when I was starting to see Serial Dater, like he was famous in my friend group for not being somebody that I'm sure about, for having all the things that I was like, oh, I'm not into this. But then, like, all of a sudden, like, 6 months passed and I called one of my friends again. And I was like, oh, like, I'm kind of interested in him. And she was just like, what? Like, I thought you were going to stop talking to him. And it's like, they don't really know what's going on in that, between you and that person. So as long as you're honest with yourself and you're not leading them on, it's fine.
I think the key there is to communicate. Yeah. And so if you're not sure, but you want to keep going on dates, to, like, let them know that. And that way you're not really leading them on, and they will know like that your feelings for them are a little confused and you're just trying to figure it out, so you need more time, more dates. But in general, I think this applies to me, but I don't think I need more than 5 dates to really know. And so
5's a lot.
If you, Sania, if you ever catch me like going on more than 5 dates with someone that I'm not interested in, please slap me. Like, you can do it in front of everyone. It's fine. Okay. The last one, dating in college.
Yeah, what does this exactly mean?
So, I mean, getting into a relationship while you're in college. And so, the hard part about that is that it might distract you from school. Maybe like you had an internship that you really wanted, but you don't want to like move away from your girlfriend or boyfriend, so you end up, I don't know, doing something else that maybe you didn't want so much. And so you could like change your goals because you're with someone. But then on the other hand, like it could be a really good relationship. So I'm gonna
put this one as like neutral. You don't get a dap for dating somebody in college. Okay. But you also don't get a slap for it. I hear what you're saying, and I think a lot of people have those worries of like, is it going to affect? Yeah, a lot of parents. My dad, oh my God, all the time. He was, like that it's going to get in the way of your academics, your future, and like, that's more important right now. Yeah. But I personally, I don't know, as somebody who used to be an academic weapon.
Oh, what do you mean used to? Oh, because you're out of school.
Yeah. Sure. And every single time my ex and I, because my first ex and I used to break up a lot and then get back together a lot. Every single time that we broke up, it was literally like the day before an exam. The day before a very, very hard. I still remember like mechanics and materials. I don't know if people watching this even know what that is, but like both he and I individually still did very good. The last official time we broke up, when it was like dunzo, this was like final year, final semester of university. Like this was all of my hard classes. I have just all my senior classes, and it was like, and I still did really well in exams. Not that I wasn't shaken up by it, but I think that if in college you're able to, if you have a good head on your shoulders, if you are good at prioritizing like yourself, like I said, back then I was very good at being by myself. I had my family around, and I was just really interested in like, oh, what does Sania like to do? What is, like, Sania likes to be good at school. Whether or not, I don't have a nickname for my first ex, but whatever. Whether or not her boyfriend is happy with her or not happy with her, like, she is going to study. So if you are very focused and goal-oriented and you know that you're not going to let anything get in the way, and I'm not saying that I was, like, made out of steel and, like, I didn't have feelings. There was times where I was studying and I was crying, or, like, there was times where I didn't have the energy to do it or the desire to want to do it. But I think if you think that you're strong enough to be able to do it, and if you're good at being independent, then I think you could totally date in college. And I think it's sweeter. Sometimes I look back and I'm like, because when you're younger, you have the rose-tinted glasses on. A lot. I put these on every episode.
Yeah, what happened?
You just, you look at the world like, you look at the world more like with your rose-tinted glasses on. You think that, like, you're less picky about the person that you're with. You can really, like, you're not afraid of love. You can just, like, give your all to them. You're not scared about anything. So that's, like, a cute relationship. That's why I think, back in the day and now it's kind of like the trend is coming back of people being in relationships younger. Because you can just, like, put your all into it. And, like, the older we get, like, I see it in myself. I'm so much more scared of love, or, like, scared to do too much for the other person or to care too much, because I've done it before and I got burned,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So here's the pro and the con. It's not a dap nor a slap.
Wow.
What about you, Ethan?
Okay, so for me, it's a dap with some conditions.
Oh, wow.
So I actually want to make the argument that college, and I think a lot of people agree, college is one of the best places to meet someone. Mm-hmm. And it's because, college / grad school. Because usually, like, at that point in your life, hopefully, like, you've matured a little bit. Mm-hmm. But usually, like, it's hard to make generalizations. But by the time people get to college, they have an idea of what they want to do with their life. They're motivated in some way. Mm-hmm. They're joining, like, extracurricular clubs. And so I think it's a good place to meet people because other people are like that too. They're also motivated. They kind of know what they want to do with their life. Mm-hmm. So, like, you have that as a baseline. You're probably going to find someone who is motivated in some way. Mm-hmm. And then I think college is a good place because you're learning about yourself and you're figuring out your values. Mm-hmm. And based on, like, the activities that you do, the classes that you're taking, you can find someone who has the same values as you. Mm-hmm. And because there's so many people around, people your age, attractive people, it's just a little easier to meet someone
totally
who wants the same things out of life. Mm-hmm. And that's why I think it's really good. Because, like, Sania, we can attest to this, but, like, now working, it's a lot harder just to meet people in the wild. That's why, like, it becomes very impressive if we just met someone in person. Yeah. But in college, like, it's not as hard. Like, you have lots of opportunities. Mm-hmm. There is a condition to that. I will say a relationship in college only becomes good if you guys are mature. Mm-hmm. And I think the key to that is, like, having a good support system. And if you listen to this podcast, I think you're, like, way better off. But I think people who don't have a support system, they don't really know what they're looking for when they're dating. Mm-hmm. Dating in college isn't necessarily gonna be fruitful or like really help you. It's also a good learning experience, like, but those types of people who don't know what they're looking for, they're just trying to, like, sleep around or date around. It's
a riskier time to date because people have a lot of different intentions.
Yeah. So I think if anyone out there is, like, in college, going to be in college, those are just things to, like, keep in mind. Yeah. But I think overall it's still a gap for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, thank you for tuning into this week's episode. I think that I got a lot out of this. This is, like,
there's a lot really of thoughts cool. I had in my mind that I didn't put words to. Yeah. And hearing you say them, like, I feel like I'm not alone in whatever I'm experiencing or feeling. So yeah, I liked it. Some good advice for sure.
Yeah, so let us know, like, what you think in the comments below. Always feel free to DM us, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.